From the insects that melt their enemies with body heat, to the mammal that can withstand the venomous bite of a cobra, today we look at animals that hate each other. Number 12. Lions and hyenas. Throughout the savannas of Africa, lions and hyenas are often at each other's throats as their hunting grounds overlap. When the paths of these two species cross, hostilities are almost guaranteed to ensue, as they both will try to steal food from one another. Though a male lion will most often triple the weight of an individual hyena, the large cat can easily be overcome by a pack should it stray into hyena territory. Lions can be equally vicious, going so far as to attack hyena pups. Number 11. Sperm whale and giant squid. Two of the most ferocious adversaries in nature are found thousands of feet below the surface of the open ocean. Sperm whales are some of the largest whales known to man, measuring 36 to 52 feet long as adults and weighing as much as 45 tons. Meanwhile, giant squids are estimated to have a maximum length of 33 to 43 feet with a top weight of 330 to 600 or more pounds. Even though sperm whales seek out the squid as prey, marine biologists have observed tentacle-inflicting scarring on the bodies of sperm whales. Number 10. Polar bears and walruses. Polar bears are the largest terrestrial predator on Earth, reaching weights eclipsing 1,500 pounds. But compared to an adult male walrus, which can weigh almost triple that of a polar bear at 4,400 pounds or more, the polar bear is an underdog. Unlike the voracious bear, walruses primarily subsist on mollusks gathered from the seafloor. So despite being much smaller, polar bears are typically the aggressors in these encounters. As solitary hunters, polar bears can't possibly take down a hulking, healthy adult walrus on its own. Instead, they will rile up a herd of walruses into fleeing back into the water, hoping to catch a weak or young straggler in the chaos. Number 9. Dogs and cats. Perhaps the most publicized of animosities in the animal kingdom, the contention between cats and dogs has been hyperbolized time and again through cartoons, books, films, and more. In reality, it's very possible for individuals of both species to get along should their owners have trained them to be non-aggressive. Dogs are predisposed to chasing smaller animals that run away from an interaction. Fleeing is a typical defense mechanism of cats, automatically enticing a canine opponent to give chase. Should they be pressed to defend themselves, though, cats will swipe at the trailing hound with their claws, potentially convincing the dog to end its pursuit in the process. Number 8. Honeybees and giant hornets. Honeybees spend the majority of their lifespan foraging for pollen and nectar to gather food for the good of their hive. In Japan, this becomes even more difficult with a predator like the giant Asian hornet looming about. Unlike the bees, this species of hornet is an insectivore, meaning it feeds on other insects rather than plant-based sustenance. When unchecked, a single giant Asian hornet can take out 40 bees per minute, and a swarm of them can eliminate over 30,000 bees in just a handful of hours. But the native Japanese honeybee isn't nearly as helpless. When a hornet scouting prey comes across a Japanese beehive, the bees will quickly swarm the individual and begin vibrating their bodies, and will use their increasing body heat and smothering to cook and suffocate the intruder before it can return with reinforcements. Number 7. Ants and termites. The feud between ants and termites is a bit more one-sided than most of the other entries on this list. Both of these bugs are known for their complex underground tunnel homes. But aside from that, and having 6 legs, that's where most of the similarities end between these two. Termites famously feed on wood, along with other expired plant material, whereas ants will feed on termites as a tremendous source of protein. In most cases, an army of termites pales in comparison to an army of ants and will usually fall victim to their invaders. Victorious ants must then transport the bodies of the conquered termites back to their larvae, who will break down the insects for consumption by all of the ant colony. Number 6. Bears and wolves. Bears and wolves have typically shared a relationship similar to that of lions and hyenas, crossing each other's path in the wild and rarely skirmishing unless the carcass of fresh prey leads to a clash. Like lions, bears are usually solitary hunters, while wolves are pack animals in the same way as hyenas. But while lions occasionally group up to attack and eliminate hyenas, it's wolves who have recently shown a propensity to hunt bears. Wolves are cunning hunters, and with numbers, they can be lethally deadly to even an 800-pound grizzly bear. Number 5. Hippos and crocodiles. Two of the most dangerous ornery beasts in Africa are the Nile crocodile and the hippopotamus. These two water-dwelling animals pose major threats to humans, with boats risking being capsized by 3,000-pound hippos and between 275 and 745 attacks carried out on people by Nile crocodiles per year. But at times, these two will meet, and it becomes immediately clear which of the species remains dominant. With such imposing size and power, hippos are capable of great destruction and will demolish a crocodile in a brawl. Crocodiles are aware of this fact, however, and will usually play nice in the presence of a full-grown hippo. But should a young hippo wander among these great reptiles unaccompanied, the sharp-toothed predators would assuredly pounce on the mammal. Number 4. Great whites and orcas. The great white shark is popularly thought of as one, if the most lethal creature in the sea and an apex predator. But there's one oceanic creature that even frightens these cold-eyed hunters: the killer whale, also known as the orca. This whale is usually much larger than the great white, weighing more than 12,000 pounds compared to the shark's average 2,200 pounds. Orcas can also measure up to 31 feet, which is nearly twice the length of the 16-foot sharks. Orcas are hunters in their own right, and in recent years, scientists have found evidence of them actually feeding on great whites. Another recent study has shown that these sharks will flee their hunting grounds should an orca appear, refusing to return to the same area for up to a year. Number 3. Mongoose and snakes. Venomous snakes like cobras or the black mamba are notoriously hazardous to most all creatures. The mongoose, however, is one quick-footed and naturally immune mammal specially equipped to prey upon these toxic serpents. That's right, these slender, furry creatures not only can defend themselves against but will actively hunt out snakes up to 7 feet in length. Upon finding a snake, a mongoose will dart in circles around the reptile, exhausting its body and vision, dodging strikes with quick reflexes and agility along the way. Once the snake is tired out, the mongoose will lunge for the nape of its neck in hopes of taking it down in one shot. The mongoose isn't wholly protected, though, for if enough snake venom were injected into an individual mongoose, its natural threshold could be surpassed, leading to fatal consequences. Number 2. Elephants and rhinos. For the most part, elephants and rhinoceros can coexist peacefully amid African wildlife as two of the largest pachyderms in the world. But sometimes these behemoths will come to blows for one reason or another, and it's not a very pretty sight. African elephants have this size advantage as they can weigh as much as 14,000 pounds and measure 8 to 13 feet tall. To compare, the rhinoceros can reach around 6 feet in height and weigh up to 3,000 pounds. And though the rhino is fitted with a massive horn capable of piercing into an animal's underbelly, the sheer difference in mass and power is usually enough to work out in the elephant's favor. In South Africa's Pilanesberg Park, 39 rhinos were killed by a group of orphaned elephants who exhibited extremely aggressive behavior. Number 1. Pythons and alligators. The Florida Everglades is a swampy tropical wetland and plays home to two monstrous reptilian predators that don't get along. The American alligator is native to the southeastern region of the United States, with these 500 to 1,000-pound brutes spanning from Texas to North Carolina. Their opposition is an invasive species known as the Burmese python, a massive, muscular serpent that can weigh between 60 and 165 pounds. These snakes are said to have expanded throughout the region after Hurricane Andrew destroyed a python zoo and breeding facility in 1992, letting them loose into the wild. Encounters between these two predators happens rarely, but when it does, the matchup could go either way or even result in fatalities for both.